I was saving a Mystic Tier 5 CC for America Chavez. It now has Hood's name written all over it. I want to. Hey, welcome back to the channel. All right, it is time to talk about the buffed abilities of Hood. Thanks to the CCP program, I do have access to his buffed abilities. I have not had the chance to play him yet. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about what I feel are the highlights of his buffed abilities and theorizing on how we're going to use them and rotations and things like that. If you're enjoying the content, please make sure to hit like, subscribe, and consider sharing. I always appreciate the support. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into this. Like I said, I have highlighted the important parts here. I think so. They're saying he's going to have more damage, more reliable utility, has Hood shining. Well, I've highlighted this for a couple reasons. One is he did not have a lot of damage to begin with, so giving him more, that's not setting the bar very high. Now, more reliable utility. They included the word reliable, and I think that's going to be important. This guy had a ton of utility to begin with. And I think you're going to see, maybe it's more reliable. I think that's debatable, but I think he's definitely going to have a lot of utility. Let's go ahead and look at it. Strengths, he has miss. I think we're very familiar with that and what that means and what that is. And then this stagger, I've highlighted the near constant uptime. They're not saying it is constant, but you're going to see it's going to have the ability to keep it up. The duration is kind of short, but I think you are going to be able to have it up a lot, and you're going to want to have it up a lot. And he's got it back. He has a way, in case a buff does come up, gets through your stagger, you're going to have a way to remove them, which is important. It's really important. Weakness, and I want to point this out because it's going to happen to, I guarantee, everyone. I think it'll probably even happen to me at least once, and then we'll remember. The invisibility is now a buff. It is now a buff, meaning it can be removed. Keep in mind that there are nodes in this game where bad things happen when you gain a buff. You know, the defender gains bar power, who knows, what have you, or your buffs just flat out get removed. I know it's gonna happen to everyone. I wanted to at least say it because maybe now it won't happen to you. Okay, he has this new mechanic, and for those who are familiar with the old buff, I don't want to bring it up a whole bunch because it doesn't really matter, but he got this new mechanic called the Hex Pistols. This is kind of a fun little, and I'm just going to use the term because I got it from my buddy Campo MC, a very cool YouTube channel. You should check that out. But he calls these mini games, and I think this is a fun little mini game that's been added, and it is effective, and it's going to add some strategy on how you want to use Hood. Basically, he's got these bullets. You can get them loaded up to 42, and he's going to start with 28. They will persist throughout the quest, and I think you're going to need to be very mindful on what sort of fights you're going to take with Hood and how much you're kind of just going to go ham with him. I've highlighted this, and you're going to see this throughout this spreadsheet here, this PDF, that when he nullifies a buff, he's going to load 2 bullets. And this theme is going to continue. When you're fighting a champion who has a lot of buffs, I don't think you're going to be too worried about the bullets. When you're fighting a champion that does not, you're going to be a little bit more worried. You're going to need to be aware. But I don't think Hood's taking those fights for you anyway. And we can get to that in a bit. The other way is when he makes an opponent miss from being invisible, it's going to load 1 bullet. So it's just 1 bullet when the invisibility ends. If you sit there and you take 4 hits and you miss all of them, you're not going to get 4 bullets. You're going to get 1. The Hex Pistols, how are you spending them? How are you spending these bullets? They're going to be up to the medium attacks and the special 2. There's a 100% chance to fire a bullet and inflict a stacking hex. It lasts for 12 seconds. So you are going to have a long time to refresh them, because you can see you do have the ability to refresh them. And then when they expire, they're going to deal a decent amount of damage. This is definitely going to be a tactic. We'll talk about this as we go through his abilities a bit more. But you're going to be able to fire these bullets, causing the hex. They will last for 12 seconds. So you have a good amount of time to refresh them. And that's how you're spending that, that mechanic of the bullets, and we'll continue to move on. And they're even pointing out you're going to be able to do some nice damage with that. Now, how do you trigger his invisible? It's the same. You're going to hold back and block for 1.2 seconds. This will give you a 100% chance to gain the invisibility. They will go on cooldown once it is over. Here's what I wanted to point out is that while the invisibility is active, Hood will gain almost a 600 critical damage rating and will ignore armor rating and the block proficiency. 75% of armor rating and block proficiency, okay? Keep in mind, and I'm going to point the synergy out because it's not listed in the bottom, because this one came with Strife. Strife is a synergy with Hood, and it's a nice synergy for Strife, but it is going to increase the attack rating of Hood while he's invisible by 50%, right? So if you go invisible, you're going to have with that synergy, you'll have a plus 50% attack rating. Additionally, you'll have a almost plus 600 critical damage rating, and you're going to ignore 75% of armor and block proficiency, though. So there is a big advantage, not just to being able to be missed, but also to your potential damage from triggering the invisibility. So keep that in mind as we continue to go through this, right? And then they're saying pair this with a special to have consistent uptime on the invisibility. But I think that is accurate. From someone who's played Hood before, you know, you're not able to keep it up 100% of the time, but through just naturally causing it by holding a block, dash back, hold block, and your SB2, you are able to keep it up pretty regularly. Now, critical hits. Critical hits are going to inflict a non-stacking stagger. We talked about this. The duration is only 5 seconds, but each critical hit will reapply this. And when a staggered opponent gains a buff, that buff and all buffs that would be triggered at the same time are nullified. And I've highlighted nullified because remember, that is how you're going to be gaining 2 bullets. And why I was saying when you're going in a fight where there's a lot of buffs, I don't think you're going to be too worried about it because you're going to be keeping your stagger up. You're going to be able to use your bullets very regularly or aggressively. You're going to be nullifying those buffs. You're going to get 2 bullets back. And I think that cycle will just kind of self-perpetuate and you'll be just fine. We do need to test that, right? Don't go ranking your Hood now, but let's test that. And that's my theory as we're walking into this. And then when that stagger ends, it can inflict some damage, right? And you can get a nice little heal. Let's see how that actually plays out. Heavy attack. This is a really important part of his rotation and what he can do. And I've highlighted, because you can see I've highlighted the whole thing here. So it's going to refresh the duration of all personal bleed and fate seal effects Hood has applied to the opponent. We haven't even gotten to the bleed or the fate seal yet. We will get there. Additionally, it's going to cause all hexes to expire immediately with 100% potency. So there's that strategy, right? Where you continue to build those hexes. You build those hexes. Remember, you're refreshing them each time. They last for 12 seconds. You go invisible. You know you're going to be missed. You know that you're going to be missed. You load up your heavy. You explode those hexes, and they're going to explode with 100% potency and all those additional attack and crit damage rating modifiers we already talked about. That's clearly going to be a source of damage. It also has the additional benefit of refreshing the duration of your bleed and your fate seal. So that's a big deal. Special 1. It can inflict this nice shock. I don't see anyone using that as their main damage dealing source. I think the utility that comes off of this is that if you let the shock go ahead its full duration and it comes off, you get a 100% chance to stun for 3 seconds. This champion already has a lot of ways of creating opening with these 2 ways of going invisible. He also has an extremely nice animations, have an extremely nice light intercept, so dash back light intercept. So he's creating openings. He's got a lot of ability to do that. But if you need to stun for some reason, or if you just need another source, I think that is there for you. This SB2 is clearly pivotal and extremely important to him. And I'm so happy this is back. This is a big deal for all of us who have been relying on Hood and used to him for these things. And it's going to, in my opinion, make him a much more reliable champion. And they talked about that reliable utility at the beginning of this. 100% chance to apply a fate seal to the opponent, nullifying all buffs and preventing new buffs for activating for 6.5 seconds. Again, this is another nullify of buffs, which will help you with your bullets, as we talked about. But something that's really important is without this, Hood did not have a way to remove already present buffs. He now can prevent buffs from coming up that haven't come up yet, so future buffs, and can handle buffs that are already on the opponent. That is a big deal. Both of those things happen. There are fights where this is important. He's going to be able to do that. And while this fate seal is active, the opponent's ability accuracy is reduced by 65%. That is not nothing. 65%, that puts the odds in your favor. I don't think it's something you want to rely upon, that this ability will definitely fail, but I'd rather have the odds be in my favor than against me. And then at the end of this attack, you are triggering another invisibility, which is why they're saying you're going to be able to keep this up pretty regularly. I think most of us who've played this game for a while are familiar with that with Hood. And then remember, and I want to scroll back up just to show you, that the heavy attack will refresh the duration of all personal bleeds and fate seal. So you're going to be able to refresh this and keep it going should you choose that way. I think he's going to be able to be played for utility or damage, and maybe a little bit of both, which I really like. And then now we still haven't talked about the bleed, and here you go. Here's the bleed. The special 3 with this Dark Pact, right? 1,725 attack rating for each full bar of power. Probably don't want it to be an SP3, so you get the opponent to 2 bars of power, you trigger this. That is a significant attack rating. Maybe you even trigger invisibility before you throw this for all those juicy modifiers too. And then it's going to have a 100% a chance to inflict a bleed, which is rather large. And then keep in mind, you're going to have the ability to refresh that. As we've shown, the heavy attack will also refresh your bleeds too. So I think that is a nice, potentially quite large way of dealing damage. I'm very excited to test that out. I'm excited to test this guy out. I was saving a Mystic Tier 5 CC for America Chavez. It now has Hood's name written all over it. I want to play him, though. I want to play him. All right, let's go ahead and get into the signature ability. This will scale, I believe, with his SIG, so that 45% is probably the 200 SIG ability. It's same with the chance to steal. Now, that's nice, right? Who doesn't enjoy stealing power? You're taking it from the opponent, giving it to yourself. That's a good deal, because you're going to gain twice that amount. So this is not a nothing. This is not a nothing. To me, the really big deal, though, or what really stands out to me is that when Hood goes invisible, you're going to be immune to all stun effects. Nice encroaching stun, of course, is the first thing that really comes to mind for me on that. But I think that's good. I don't think you have to have this to have a lot of the utility that he is providing, or even the damage that he's providing. But if you have him awakened, it's very nice to have. I'm going to go into the synergy bonuses, and I'm going to go ahead and just kind of talk about the 2 that I have highlighted. There's this Not a Hero with MODOK, Mole Man, Mysterio, and Mojo. Knocking down the opponent will load 3 bullets. I'm seeing this as something to be really nice. Again, you can just go heavy. Remember the specials and the heavies will be knocking them down. So I could see this being another way for you just to kind of go ham on an opponent, and potentially this would allow you to take some fights against opponents who don't have very many buffs. It all depends on how much damage you're doing within those knockdowns. I think that's something to keep in mind. And then the best villain is Invisible. Starting chance goes up to 140%. That's really nice, because, and I didn't talk about this, the invisibility for each miss is going to go down 20% chance, meaning, you got 1. You got, 2. So it's 120%, then 100%. Then you got to do something on the last one, because it's only an 80% chance to be missed. This would get you to 140%, which allow you an additional hit that will miss, right? So I think that would be really nice there. I don't think any of these synergies are absolutely necessary. I think there's a lot already there in his kit. And I actually think the teams that you'll probably be traveling with, his traveling partners, I think are going to be Strife. I think that's a really nice synergy for Hood. I'm very excited to test that out. And then of course, Kingpin. He does great things for Kingpin. I'm very excited about that. Someone who has a rank 3 Kingpin. And then the team that we're used to seeing him with Ghost. I know I was very excited about a Ghost, Wasp, Hood, Kingpin team, and all the things they could do together. I think I might be taking this guy to rank 3. I absolutely want to play him first, though, and make sure that this all works out as well as I think it's going to work out. Let me know what you think. Are you excited about this buff? Are you happy with the way this has all turned out? Are you excited about this champion that's coming into the game? And let me know if you think I missed anything. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. I hope you either learned something, were entertained, or even better, a little bit of both. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.